I'm Mary Grace, the voice of sanity, to help you navigate politics, culture, wellness, faith, and world events. And we are here today with a guest that all of you know and love. We have been anticipating this, and it's not actually his fault that he hasn't been on because I've been so busy. But we have with us our friend Sam Faddis, also known as Sam the Spy. If you are a viewer, a regular viewer of War Room, you've seen him on Bannon's War Room, on Real America's Voice. He also appears occasionally on Frank Gaffney, a lot of others. And he has a Substack and magazine, and you can check out a lot of his articles over there. It's great to have you back, Sam.
It is great to be here. As you can see, I'm in summer casual mode. And if I keep looking down, that's because I am locked in my office with the dogs, which includes Homer, well known to this audience. And we have painters occupying the house, and I'm attempting to keep Homer from expressing his displeasure with the presence of outsiders in the house. He's talking to me right now, explaining to me that he really should be allowed to go inside and kill them all.
And Homer, just for reference for the new people, is a min pin. So
Yes.
he's about the size of our cat Bartley.
He's about the size of a house cat. In fact, he may be smaller than one of our house cats, which doesn't change the fact that he regularly starts fights with those cats, which explains why he has this tattooing effect on his face, where he has been reminded periodically by the cats to back off. Anyway.
Yeah. So in case you hear him, that's what's going on.
That's right. And you will know if he starts talking, you'll know, because he's not shy.
And in today's climate, it's good to have some interruptions and levity. So
last night we had a bear here, since we live in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
The dogs spent a sizable portion of the evening having a discussion with the bear outside, and I spent the morning dragging my trash cans back down from the wood line where they had been taken. Never a dull moment on the mountain.
Do they have bite marks?
No, but we had Indian food. So this guy, I guess, has a sophisticated palate. He smelled all of the chutney and everything and decided he had to come down and hang out. So whatever.
Curry will have that effect.
Whatever. It's all done. But that meant a lot of time in the middle of the night with the dogs outside.
I bet.
Discussing with the bear. They like to run outside, say basically trash talk, make a lot of loud noise, and then they run back in the bedroom and stare at me like, okay, over to you. Like, now that we started the fight, it's your job to finish.
Yeah. They're like, okay. Yeah.
All I'm thinking is, I didn't really care. The bear can knock the trash cans over. I'll clean it up in the morning. Can we go back to bed now? But that's not the way they look at it.
Nice.
Anyway.
Well, it's always fun, never a dull moment up there on the mountain. And I'm waiting to see if we get more people in. You never know what's happening with the algorithms. You just never know. I think Facebook has decided that they don't actually want people doing live streams now. So again, never know. But here we are. I want to ask people to tag friends. Also, I tagged you on X, so if you can retweet that would be great. But the other thing I want to let people know is, I know people have been waiting and wondering where some of my shows are. If you ever have any doubts and you're not sure, please go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and sign up for my mailing list, because all of my listeners who are signed up will get an email from me prior to a show. And that's marygracemedia.com. You can also click on that link there and go to my website and check out my shopping links, all of my affiliate partners, if you want to support this show. That's very easy to do. So marygracemedia.com, never miss a show, get an email notification, and you will be right here with us on the live. So Sam, so much time has passed since we talked, and it's never a dull moment. I think that today marks 200 days of Trump's administration since he was sworn in, which is very exciting. And I don't know about you, but my feeling about this administration is that he is completely on offense. It's a huge change from Trump 1.0. There's like they're not wasting a single minute
Right.
with policy and action. Can you tell us, like, what are 2 or 3 things to you that are standing out about what they're doing differently and how effective it is?
Well, look, I think the essence of this, and you and I have talked about it many times, is that in the first Trump administration, I mean, let's be blunt, the deep state won. It's not a knock on Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Donald Trump pulled off a revolution, showed up in Washington, D.C., with a suitcase and two guys following him. Obviously, I'm being a little facetious, but the bottom
it's
line
pretty
is
close. Yeah,
pretty friggin' close.
yeah.
And the deep state was all around him. He had no, he's a very bright guy and a very experienced man. He's been around, but he had never been president before and had never been in DC before. And he just flat out didn't have the team with him in the backup. And one guy alone, well, I'm sorry, even though you're president, you're not really by yourself in control now.
Right.
And so he was surrounded by enemies and, let's be blunt, some backstabbers, some people he trusted who turned on him, who were
Mhm.
never in his corner. And as a consequence, the deep state managed to survive.
Yeah,
I'm using that term deep state, as shorthand, but I think everybody watching this understands what I mean.
sure.
Okay. He absorbed that lesson. Again, he's a very bright guy, and he has arrived with a team. I don't think that team's perfect. But nobody's perfect. But he
Mhm.
has arrived in it's fundamentally different.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of folks, and he has absorbed the lessons, and the they're fighting on a lot of fronts, but they're certainly waging war on the deep state. And that battle is joined
Mhm.
now. The deep state, in my
Yeah.
opinion, again, I'm using that as shorthand. First option was they thought, okay, let's dig in, slow roll this, concede a few things that we have to, but basically try to ride this out until this guy's second term is done. And then we will hope to return to
Right.
business as usual. It is clear now to them, to the other side, that option does not
Yeah,
exist
that's off the
anymore.
table.
That
Yeah.
that is off
Yeah.
the table. This is a fight for all the marbles. Use whatever analogy you want. If they don't stop Trump and his team, the status quo in Washington no longer exists. Business as usual doesn't exist. The deep, every this is for everything
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
So I can tell you this because I spend a lot of time every day talking to people in DC and heavily involved in what's going on down there and providing a lot of input. The knives are out, man. This is a fight to the
Yeah.
death now. That's
Yeah.
where we are.
And this is something that I've been saying for, it's hard to believe, going on 10 years, that this is a
Hmm.
zero-sum game, that
Yep.
there's no second place, and I still see people who think that we should be playing nice, that Trump should be playing nice, that he shouldn't be so mean, that he should back off
Hmm.
sometimes on his rhetoric and things like that. And I think that when you see that type of sentiment, it's very clear that that's from people who are emotionally based, that they don't really understand the larger play here. They don't understand the long-term generational ramifications of playing nice. And this is something that I think, with your experience in the Middle East, dealing with the types of actors, bad actors over
Right.
there, you have seen that firsthand. I mean, you've been downrange, you've seen it face to face. I think the difference
Yes.
here in America is that the enemy has been, uh, well, much better disguised, and they have gotten so deeply entrenched in the media, in our institutions, they don't look on the face like the enemy, and they've also managed to do a lot of brainwashing and the
Mhm.
information war against Americans, against the West, has been very successful, which is why you see people, you know, getting upset and crying when Trump talks about deporting murderers and rapists, and
Right.
saying he's being so mean. Uh, no, he's trying to protect you. So tell us a little bit though about that. I mean, it's very obvious in the work that you've done when you're looking evil in the
Mhm.
face, and
Mhm.
it's still here. It's in our country. It's inside the wire.
Yeah, look, I consider myself to be a civilized person. My wife Gina might disagree on some occasions. She might not so civilized. But the point is, look, I'm all for being nice and kinder and gentler. I love playing with my grandkids. I love running around. Okay. And then there are times in life when I'm sorry, you're just face to face with people and things that don't follow those rules and don't play by those
Mhm.
rules. And either you will be victimized and subjugated, or you will do what is necessary to
Mhm.
defeat them. Now, I've said, I think on this show before, in the Middle East, yeah, I used to, in particular, dealing with counterterrorism matters, and our officers and meeting with sources would be like, look, you meet with your guy, your source, and he's inside Al Qaeda, and you're talking to Mohammed, and you're calling him brother, and he's calling you brother, and you love each other too much, and all that. Whatever. That's wonderful. At the end of the day, here's the reality. When the day comes that he no longer is more afraid of you than anybody else on the planet, he will sell you out and you will be done in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So don't smile, do whatever you want, but understand what the reality is. Now, there's no subtext here with me talking about inside the United States in a political context, killing people, hurting people. That's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying sometimes have to face some hard truths.
Yeah.
These individuals we're talking about at the core of the deep state spent, as you just suggested, basically a decade, 9 years in,
Mhm.
tearing up the Constitution, committing treason, first trying to pervert the political system and stop Trump from being elected, then trying to depose him once he was elected, and then absolutely lying, cheating, and stealing and manipulating the process in 2020 to keep him from being
Yeah.
reelected. So that's pretty close to a decade in which they said, we don't really give a damn what the Constitution says, the fact that there's a republic, the fact that the people choose the president. We have usurped unto ourselves the power to make these
Mhm.
decisions. We're going to be the kingmakers. We're going to
Yeah.
rule the oligarchs, the so-called
Yeah.
elite.
That's a good, yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
reality, man. That's what you're facing now. And they do not want to give up that power. Just because he got elected doesn't mean, yeah, oh, okay, we lost. No, they are going to continue to fight that. So that's the
Mhm.
reality
Mhm.
of what you're facing. We know, look, my good friend Steve Bannon went to prison for what? For being a political opponent of these people. They tried to send Trump to prison. They sent Navarro to prison. I have absolutely, and this will resonate with you, over the last X number of years, been sitting down with my wife at various points and said, so when the FBI shows up here tomorrow and I go
Yeah.
to jail, here's the power of attorney. This is how we're going to handle our
Mhm.
affairs, yada, yada. I literally, I mean, part of this is old habit. For years, when I want to have a sensitive conversation, leave my cell phone in the house and walk out across the property with my
Mhm.
wife. Not because I'm friggin' paranoid, because that's the reality. I mean, my good friend Scott Perry, congressman from Pennsylvania, the FBI seized his frigging cell phone several
Yeah.
years ago. A sitting congressman, because he was a political opponent,
Yeah.
showed up and seized his electronics from a sitting member of
I
Congress.
believe it. Yeah.
What was it? That's the
I mean,
reality. So
yeah,
that's
look
where
what they
we
did
are.
to Rudy Giuliani, and, I've you and I have had this conversation because of what I do. I mean, I'm not nearly as deeply entrenched as you are, but still, I give voice to people like you. And because of that, I spent the last 4 years, until Trump's inauguration this year, expecting that the door to be kicked in at 6 AM, like a pre-dawn
Yes.
raid.
Yes.
I didn't actually sleep in real pajamas for 4 years because I didn't wanna have I didn't wanna be on the news in pajamas. So I would
I hear you.
I would wear sweatpants, just right like street clothes.
Well, you know what I did? I had the T-shirt made that on the front says, "Good morning, FBI, Trump won," and on the back it says, "If you're all special agents, that's not very special, is it?" Because that was my way of saying, I'm in effect going to give you the finger when you perp walk me out down the
Yeah,
driveway in front of CNN. My wife, for the record, because she's much more rational than I, said, "I think that qualifies as tempting fate, and you should probably not wear that." But I did wear it to
yeah,
sleep in, and it wasn't just a joke. It was,
yeah,
look, man,
yeah,
as insane as it sounds, after a lifetime of serving the country, it is entirely possible that a bunch of guys all gunned up and wearing their best commando gear are going to show up at my
yeah,
house
yeah,
because I am speaking
and it's
truth.
exactly. So, and I was in that same mindset, and, that literally, that night of his inauguration was the first night that I went to bed wearing regular pajamas, and, I wrote a post about it because it was pretty intense, and just,
Yes.
I think the emotional, uh, load that you carry knowing that that's a possibility, and being in a position now where I don't think it's quite so much a possibility. I mean, the FBI
Yeah.
still they have still a lot of house cleaning to do, but I
Yes,
think
they
I
do.
do have more of a fighting chance, and so that's good.
Yes.
But, I wanted to ask you about some of the things that are being revealed, as we see, uh deep state players being subpoenaed to Congress. We know that Trump's that his AG has convened a grand jury in Florida. Um, some really big signs that Trump is playing for keeps. That it's not a
Right.
revenge tour, it's a justice tour. And,
Yes.
so with your background in law and also in
Mhm.
government, uh, w do you how do you feel about it this time around? Do you think is it theater, or does this situation have teeth to it?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely not
Okay,
theater. That is not what's
okay,
happening. And, does it have teeth to it? Yeah,
okay.
100%. But, I mean, a couple of things come to mind. First of all, people should understand that you're talking about prosecuting for very serious charges, whatever exactly those end
Mhm,
up being, and that becomes a matter of technicality. Okay, there are statutes, and the statutes say certain things, and so you can use the word treason if you want, but there's a technical definition of that under U.S. law, and so the first thing to understand is that this has teeth, but this will be a laborious process.
mhm,
There is not going to be like an indictment tomorrow and then somebody's going to prison next week. All the most high priced attorneys in the United States of America are going to be trotted out on the other side of this thing, who may be amoral but know their trade,
mhm,
and they will have unlimited
mhm.
resources. So that doesn't mean DOJ can't win. That's not where I'm going. I'm just saying, if you think this is like a
Yeah,
cakewalk and you're just going to walk into court and in a matter of days going to be over, forget
right,
about it. This
right.
is You're talking about siege warfare, and this will be long and protracted and bloody.
Mhm,
I'm not That is not me saying that it can't be done. In fact, I'm optimistic it
mhm,
can be done. If you have the political will, you can absolutely convict these
mhm.
people and send people to prison. And the other thing I would just hit up front is people need to understand, and probably this audience does, we're not talking about charging people with perjury. Like, we're not talking about giving people
Like
traffic
processed
tickets and
crimes.
misdemeanor. Right, right, okay, yeah, I'm using the term
Yeah,
traffic
yeah,
ticket, obviously, a little sarcastically, but the point is, we're not talking about slaps on the wrist here,
right.
right? We're talking about felony charges that put people in prison, and which is 100% appropriate. I
Mhm.
mean, it is that is commensurate with the crime. That's what
Yeah,
we need to
yeah.
be talking about. So my point is to say, understand that what we're talking about, as you and I have talked about now for years, are people who very deliberately did very, very serious things, knowing exactly what they were doing, completely unconstitutional, completely
Mhm.
illegal, completely perverting the system. And they did it in order to because they wanted to control our
Right.
political process. This is so again, this is not about people still talk about, well, Brennan committed perjury technically, former CIA director Brennan, because he said such and such on one occasion and
Mhm.
such on another occasion. Okay, forget about that
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about charging with Brennan with something that even if he was convicted, he's going to get a suspended sentence and pay
Right,
a
we're talking
fine.
about
We're
seditious
talking about
conspiracy.
sending Brennan to prison for
Mhm.
years. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. So, seditious conspiracy, right? And I think the conspiracy word is big, especially when
Yes.
you look at opening a case, convening a grand jury in Florida. Can
Hmm.
you explain the significance of that? Why Florida how Florida comes into play and why it's a suitable why it's even allowed, why the US government has standing to bring a case in Florida for things that happen in
Well, I
DC.
mean, the question of the venue, which is what
Yeah.
you're talking about, venue being where are we going to
Mhm.
do this? Where are we going to convene the grand jury? Where are we going to conduct the trial? That comes down to a question. I mean, to put it in layman's terms, of a connection to that
Mhm.
location. So if you got a crime that all took place in Brooklyn among six guys in Brooklyn, and you try to convene a grand jury in South Dakota to charge these guys, you're going to have a
Mhm.
serious problem with a
Mhm.
venue. There's no
Okay.
connection. There is definitely connect. I mean, at this point, this conspiracy has taken place in so many different places and involved actions like, amongst other things, I don't know, raiding the former president's house in
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago. At this point, you could probably make a reasonable case that to kind of convene the grand jury almost anywhere, but certainly Florida, given that Trump's
Mhm.
there and the actions that his residence is there and the actions they took against him, that's an easy
Mhm.
case to make. Why is it a big deal about the venue? Because when you're going to convene a grand jury, and a grand jury, is bigger than a regular jury, et cetera, and so forth, but it still boils down to a bunch of citizens being brought in. It's not a I mean, you got prosecutors and judges
Mhm.
and so forth involved, but the people who actually have to return the indictment, is what it's called, are going to be citizens, just like the citizens in a
Right,
jury would pass a
right.
verdict. Well, that means they're chosen from the voter pool.
Mhm.
From
Yeah.
Okay, so if you convene this thing in friggin' DC and then got together a grand jury in that
Mhm.
location, the chances of getting an indictment would be much slimmer
Yeah.
than if you go to a state like
Mhm.
Florida. So this is a perfect example. I'm glad you brought it up, of how it's going to be a really protracted legal fight, and you better have your act together. I
Mhm.
have I have seen, back when I was practicing law, plenty of cases involving people that were guilty as hell and should
Mhm.
have gone to prison for a very long time, and they walked out of the courtroom scot free.
Yeah.
Not because the facts weren't there, but because the prosecutor did a crappy job. They phoned in the case, and a
Mhm.
child molester walked.
Yeah.
And so it's a very good sign that from Jump Street, the Department of Justice is focused on this kind of
Mhm.
detail. Like,
Yeah.
want an indictment, don't go to
Mhm.
Washington, D.C. and get a bunch of
Yeah.
people and ask them to support Donald Trump in effect politically.
Right, right, right. Thank you for explaining that. We're going to take a very short break and we'll be right back. I'm going to take you off camera just briefly. And then if we lose you, just click back in. So I wanted to let everybody know that when you watch the Mary Grace show, you are watching a listener supported show. We have affiliate partners who work with us to bring you America First products from America First companies. One of our favorite products that we love to share with you is our American grown, American harvested, freeze dried beef. This is grass fed, grass finished. It is brought to you by American farmers and ranchers. And this is a great company. I've met the owners. I've actually had them on the show. It's called griddownchowdown.com. If you go to this website and you order using promo code Mary Grace, you will get a little discount. And if you sign up for their subscription model, you get the best pricing. This is freeze dried beef. This is not jerky. You put water in it, you reconstitute it, and it does exactly what a pound of fresh ground beef would do. Meatballs, spaghetti sauce, burgers, whatever you want. They also have pre-made burger patties, and that makes things super simple. All you have to do is reconstitute, throw them on the grill, uh, make your cheeseburger, whatever it is you want, and it's the same type of thing. It's not jerky. It's a freeze-dried, fresh, raw beef that will reconstitute just like regular beef from the package. And when you buy from them, you're helping to save American farm and ranch land, which is fantastic. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that I have a wellness store, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of this because you can buy all kinds of supplements from our wellness store. A lot of people have been really shocked to find that big box stores are offering substandard supplements, many of which are not pure. They're using brand name bottles, but they're putting fake products in the bottles. And what we have at our wellness store, sorry, wrong link, at our wellness store is we have vetted the companies. We work directly with the manufacturers, and so some of the really high level supplement names that you may be looking for, like Thorn and I'm drawing a blank on it. There's a lot of different companies that offer nutraceuticals and things like that. Also, we offer some peptides on our website, and a lot of people have been getting interested in that. BPC 157 is a really common peptide. And so please go to the wellness store first and make sure you check that out. It's maryggracewellness.gethealthy.store. You can also scan the QR code here on the screen. Please, please take advantage of that because you don't want to get uh, things that have lead and arsenic and crazy fillers and things like that. You want pure supplements if you're going to buy them. And then lastly, I want to remind everybody that we work with our partners over at mypillow.com. Believe it or not, it's back to school time, and people are buying sheets and towels and bedding and mattress toppers and things like that. You don't need to get in line at one of these big box stores to buy all of this stuff. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com and use promo code Mary Grace, and you can get all of that shipped directly to the dorm room, directly to your home, wherever you want to have it to get your kids back to school. It's very convenient. Towels, sheets, slippers, robes, mattress toppers, blankets, comforters, all of it, anything that you would be going to someplace like Walmart or Target, you can go directly to the website, Mary Grace Media, mypillow.com, promo code Mary Grace, and you can get everything you need. It's fantastic. You can take advantage of all their deals. So we're going to bring our friend Sam back here. We're going to talk a little bit more about deep state treachery, and that brings us to a topic that you and I have talked about many times, and that is the Bidens. I do want to talk about that today because you have been beating the drum of the Hunter Biden laptop, as we have been as we've seen exposure on what has been happening with the fake Russia dossier and the all of the conspiracy behind that. We must not forget that Joe Biden was installed in office and that he has been highly compromised by his Chinese handlers for quite some time. So give us a recap on that because I think people may have lost the thread on that with everything else that's come in. And there's so much to digest. So can you just give us a recap?
Yeah, well, I agree. I think that's an excellent point, which is it just so much information over such a long period of time, and then obviously so much of the so-called mainstream media doing their best to lie, cheat, and steal and obfuscate. So it gets hard to follow the threads here. Let me grab a hold of this piece of it because I think what you just touched on is incredibly important. Okay. As you know, I looked at Hunter Biden's laptop very early on. I was asked by
Mhm.
Bannon and company to come look at the laptop, and I was asked to come look at the laptop for one reason, because they had a copy of the hard drive. This is very early on, right after the Bureau had gotten it.
Mhm.
And essentially, not essentially, straight up, what they wanted to know is this thing real? Because no matter politically what we might be able to do with it, we aren't going to do anything until we know that we're dealing with something real. We're not going to be pawns. We're not going to be used. We're not going to run with a fake story, unlike
Right.
other people. Okay, I looked at the thing and very quickly.
Axios.
I literally got in my car, drove down to DC in the middle of the night, spent sitting up in a townhouse in Capitol Hill, unfettered access to it. Almost immediately, my response was, "Yeah, there's no way you could.
Mhm.
Of course, it's real. There's no way you could fake this." I've talked about this a million times. The short version is way too much data, too much that would have to be confirmed
Yeah.
elsewhere, too many details. You can't. Could I make a fake laptop? Yes. Would it be apparent it's a fake laptop in 5 minutes?
Mhm.
Yes. By the way, we know that the Bureau, with their resources, independently, essentially in the exact same time frame, had already contacted Apple, and they confirmed that the laptop was the laptop they sold to Hunter Biden because you registered the thing. And they also confirmed, since
Mhm.
it updates, it uploads to the cloud, right? Backs up to
Mhm.
the cloud every
Mhm.
day. They had already confirmed that the contents were real. So the Bureau essentially instantaneously knew, yeah, the friggin' thing's real and everything that's on it is legit. They knew there was never any controversy. So just keep that in mind with everything that happened thereafter, with
Mhm.
all the lies that were told and the people that tried to convince you otherwise. It was
Mhm.
crystal clear the thing is real. All right.
Yeah.
If you look at the laptop, as I unfortunately horribly did in the pursuit of the truth, what do you know? Well, first, Hunter can't find his trousers on a good day, and that's very, very unfortunate. Um, eats Viagra like peanuts, literally, and he snorts coke by the kilo, and he's just generally a scuzzy, slimy guy, and he's surrounded by scuzzy, slimy people. But more importantly, the Bidens were taking money from every scumbag on the planet, millions and millions of dollars from people in many countries, and obviously for one purpose, to do. They were being bought, and by they we really
Mhm.
mean Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, but after we strip away all that, Hunter's a scumbag, the pornography, the possibility that some of the women that we're talking about in these videos they aren't even adults. What do we see? We see more than anybody else, the Chinese are the ones who gave money to the Bidens. The Bidens took, best estimate I've seen,
Mhm.
$31 million from the Chinese. But not just from the Chinese. They took all of that money from individuals who were Chinese intelligence officers. People working for Chinese intelligence, Chinese spies. I don't know how many more ways to say it. Not a random Chinese dude, and not for any legitimate commercial purpose. Nothing was produced. Nobody built a factory. Nobody produced a
Mhm.
product. Money, in some cases, gold and jewelry, literally, handed over to Hunter by Chinese intelligence. So this is the Bureau. And by the way, at the point that the Bureau is is has this information, gets this information, they are well into a investigation of Chinese intelligence activity on US soil, buying influence, buying people. They
Yeah.
had already taken them directly to Hunter Biden. They already knew Hunter was in touch with Chinese intelligence and taking huge amounts of money. So now think about this, right? You got the guy who is the Joe Biden, former president. I mean, he's running for president at this
Yeah.
time frame. This
Yeah.
is 2019, 2020. The former vice president about to potentially step into the Oval Office, and you discovered the dude, because Hunter's just a bag man, is taking tens of millions of dollars from Chinese spies. Now, in the normal world, in the real world, alarms go off, lights start flashing, the Bureau and everybody else goes, all hands on deck. Good Lord, this is an actual Manchurian candidate real life scenario. We may be about to put a guy owned by Chinese intelligence in the White House. And instead, what they did was they just walked on. Now, let me add one thing that makes this even worse. Right in the middle of all this time frame, as the Bureau was, as I said, already investigating Chinese intelligence and already aware they were in touch with the Bidens, this is all before the laptop surfaced.
Mm-hmm.
The head of counterintelligence in the New York field office, the FBI, the guy who runs counterintelligence in the field office in New York for the FBI. So that would make New York field office is not just the biggest field office in the Bureau. It's something like 1/3 of all the FBI agents in the country actually work for that office. It dwarfs everything else. So the guy who
So
runs
next to the Washington, D.C. Bureau, it's the biggest.
yeah. So,
Okay.
well, next to headquarters. So
Right.
the guy, Charlie McGonigal, who runs counterintelligence in New York for the FBI, would therefore be basically the top spy hunter in the FBI and at the very
Okay.
pinnacle of American spy hunting efforts. He's in charge of this whole friggin' investigation, all this info on the Bidens, everything else, everything they know. He meets with a representative of the same Chinese front company that was paying Hunter.
Is that Bohai Harvest?
No,
Which one?
CEFC, China
Oh, CEFC.
China
Okay.
Energy. He meets, which is nothing but a front. By that I mean it's not a legit
Right.
commercial company. Okay, they have a guy who works for them, who happens to be an Albanian, meet with McGonigal. McGonigal takes hundreds of thousands of dollars from this guy who works for the Chinese spy company,
Mm-hmm.
and the investigation dies. Now, that's not Sam thought that up last night in a dream.
Yeah.
McGonigal confessed to this.
Wow.
McGonigal went to prison for this. McGonigal is in prison right now because he was charged, caught, charged, confessed, went to prison. So in the midst of this investigation, the guy running the whole investigation takes a bribe, kills the investigation, they put him in prison, and then do nothing. Like after that, you'd be thinking, okay, if I'm in the Bureau, whoa, we must really be onto something, guys, right? Because in the middle of our investigation, they just bribed the boss to drop the whole thing. So you would be thinking, we better double down on digging into what the hell's going on. Whatever is happening here, they really don't want us to get to the bottom of it. Instead, the Bureau dropped the whole thing. When they charged some of the other peripheral characters, they went to the point of redacting the Biden's name out of all the documents. So any transcripts they introduced literally had the names of the Bidens blacked out to hide their connection. Hopefully that wasn't too convoluted and people can follow that.
No, I think it's a good refresher because, like, like, we've talked about this a lot, but it's been a while. I put a link in the chat here and in the show notes on Rumble, for the original interview that you and I did, where we went into in depth about the Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, that was an explosive interview and went viral, because that was when the story resurfaced and Jack Maxey was trying to shop it around and get it
Yep.
to the right people, but it didn't
Well,
for
Maxie
different for
devoted huge
yeah,
quantities of time and money
yeah,
to that, and they shut him down every
yeah,
chance they got.
nobody wanted
Literally,
to
he would put
touch
the
it.
laptop up online, and then the website would be crashed and destroyed, and it would
Yeah,
never be covered.
yeah, yeah. So, that was an interesting time, but that's when you and I first met. So, I dropped that link here so people can go back and if you wanna dive into more details about that. Also, I think when it comes to the Chinese influence over our politicians, specifically Biden, I would definitely check out Peter Schweizer's work. He's
Mhm.
written and researched extensively on this, on the what we call elite capture, the Chinese
Miranda
getting
Devine at New York Post has been all
okay,
over this as well.
yes, Miranda
And I
Devine,
just
yeah,
put up an article from 18 months ago on And Magazine this morning about McGonagall and everything that I just covered,
okay,
because
okay.
as a sort of reference document.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just putting this in here. So for the basically the China influence on our politicians, especially the Bidens.
I mean, what
Um,
you're talking about is the FBI discovering that a man who potentially was about to become president, and in fact did, had already been bought by Chinese spies, and they decided to walk away. They decided that wasn't, I guess they
yeah,
had something better to do that day.
yeah. Meanwhile, the 51 intelligence officers, were the ones who decided that the laptop was what did it say? Showed all the signs of Russian disinformation, right?
I was having this dispute publicly with another former and CIA guy just the other day, and it was like, you guys took a laptop that didn't show anything to do with Russia, but did show that the man who was about to sit down in the Oval Office might be a Chinese agent. And you all
Mhm.
wrote a letter to bury it and
Yeah,
allow that
yeah,
Chinese spy to
yeah.
enter the Oval Office.
All of those people should hang.
Yes,
Um, gosh, I hope
yes.
that doesn't that's probably gonna get me taken off YouTube. Um
That's it. We're done. Nobody's going to ever see us again.
We're done. Oh, I might as well just say the vaccine word now just to get it out of the way, because if that doesn't get us shut down, that will. But in fact, I do wanna touch on that really quickly because you've been sharing a little bit about that. We've seen, just shifting gears really quickly, we've seen some pretty impressive moves by Kennedy at HHS, one
Yes.
of which is taking junk food off of the EBT allowance, which, I know is shocking. People are posting their videos from trying to go shopping and they can't buy chips and soda anymore, and they're scandalized by it and wondering what are they going to do? Like what literally they're saying what is this even for if we can't buy this? Well, it's actually not food.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing that. But also there's a big announcement about the mRNA shots
Yes.
that they're being taken off the market. You've shared about that. What have you found out about that and why is it
Look,
celebrated?
RFK Jr. is for real, and I know some of the people who are his key advisors around him, and they are for real. Uh,
Mhm,
and um, and I think that is one of the real bright spots in this administration. I mean,
mhm,
mRNA vaccines are done. Okay,
mhm,
that's massive. I mean, we were trying to fight around the edges of that. He just took that totally off the table.
mhm.
And look, there, anybody who walks around America understands we have a health crisis.
Yeah,
When you and look, man, when I was growing up, I didn't see any 400-pound people in the supermarket, and I'm not disparaging them as
yeah.
individuals. I'm saying it is clear
It's a
that our
crisis.
food supply is killing us.
Yeah.
And people that say folks eat too much, okay, yeah, whatever. But if anybody who's actually looked at it is like in the 50s, Americans, if anything, ate more calories.
Mhm.
And okay, maybe they moved more, but not everybody was at the gym all day, every day. The food is killing you. What's being put in your body is killing you. And RFK's Junior's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, not going to take federal dollars and you let you use it to buy food that, first of all, is not nutritious and doesn't feed
Mhm.
you, but
Mhm.
is actually killing you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
producing harmful effects on you. It's not going to happen. So,
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
bully for him.
yeah. Yeah, and the convenience stores have signs on a lot of the cases now, "No EBT, no EBT, no EBT."
Good.
And, yeah, it's taken effect.
Eat some real food, man. I
Um,
mean,
I know, it's not that hard. I mean, I think that, I've been thinking about this too because I adopted the carnivore diet, and it really has made a huge difference in my health. And, but I also, I was thinking about the way people used to eat. Like, people didn't have to resort to something as basically it's a, elimination diet, right?
yes.
They didn't have to do that. People
No.
were eating bread because it was real bread, and was it optimal? Is oatmeal the best breakfast? Probably not, but, it wasn't laced with glyphosate,
No,
and,
look, what I know is, like, if I go on vacation, my wife says this all the time.
yeah,
Being the smarter one of the two, anyway, I just try to, I try to listen to her and then parrot what she says. But no, I mean, Gina's always saying, "Look, we go to Greece and we hang out for a few weeks, and okay, maybe we're moving more, but I'm not sure that's true, even because we're pretty active."
mhm,
And we're losing weight and feeling better while
yeah,
we're there.
yeah,
What are we eating? We're eating bread and using olive oil and eating fresh food
yeah,
and all of this and drinking wine. And what we're not doing is eating anything that came out of a box and is filled with
mhm,
garbage.
right,
And I
right,
try to minimize that, but in the States, that's really hard. The
mhm,
worst for me is when I'm out running around and I'm busy and I got to grab lunch, and the only options I've got to go through a drive-through because I'm just jammed for time.
yeah.
And the next thing you know, I eat a burger, and good Lord, I feel like death after I've eaten the
It's
thing.
almost better to fast.
Yeah, it is. There are times
Yeah,
when literally I skip it, and
yeah,
I will try to find a mom and pop. Hunter's
yeah.
talking to me, by the way. I'm sorry. That's what's going on here. I
Oh,
mean,
he
I'm
is?
sorry, Homer. I got Hunter on the
Let's see,
brain.
can we see him? Can we see him? We haven't seen him in so long.
Come here, buddy.
Is Hera down there?
I'm not going to try to get up here.
Okay, look,
There's the
there he
man.
is, there's Hunter. Here, pick him up, get him up.
There's the man.
Here, there we go, we wanna see his whole face. Look at him. Hi.
You will notice that he has a leash on because that's my way of keeping him from killing the painters.
Okay. Homer. Oh, he made a cameo. That's so great.
Hera's asleep under the desk. I will leave her alone.
Okay, alright, we still haven't seen her, so we're expecting her.
She's a big white wolf. She's a
Yeah.
golden retriever, very large, and snow white, not not typical golden color.
Hey, Mark has a good suggestion for when you go out to eat. Just order the burger patties. I'll tell you who does a good job with that is Wendy's. If you go to Wendy's and just order the like 3 or 4 burger patties, just get like 3 cheeseburgers with no buns.
There you go.
It's actually not bad.
Oh,
I've done
I
that
hear you.
before.
I hear
Um,
he's
yeah.
telling he's
So
telling me I have to go.
Homer, Homer. So I think that, yeah, this is our sign. Listen,
Okay.
we're not gonna wait this long to have you back.
All
And
right.
thank you for coming on. And again, I just wanna remind everybody, first of all, tell everybody how to follow you.
Go to And Magazine at Substack, andmagazine.substack.com,
Perfect.
and that will take you to everywhere we are on social media as well.
And as always, you can contact me through the website. Go to marygracemedia.com. There is a contact form there. My email address is on the website as well, info@marygracemedia.com. Please check out our wellness store. Don't compromise your health with cheaply made substitute supplements. Go to gethealthy.store, and then also get on my mailing list just so you can stay in touch and hear when we have another show. We will be having more shows. We will see you all back here soon. Again, thank you so much, Sam the Spy. This has been another episode of
Homer says goodbye
Spot
too.
by Homer. We will see everybody soon. Thank you, everybody. Please remember to
Take
share.